like fire, hellfire.
Be honest, y'all knew this video was coming. I have officially gotten in too deep, and if there's one absolute truth about Hazbin Hotel, is that the ships are everything. Alastor can't breathe or so much as look at another character without being shit with them. Pentious went from no game to end game and is gonna solve world peace by sleeping through most of heaven. If they have a pulse, it's possible, and if not, shippers have done more with less.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
A while back I made a tier list for Hell of a Boss where I also ranked some of the Hazbin ships, based pretty much on nothing but the pilot and vibes. While I still stand by everything that I said at the time, that didn't get me in trouble, Hazbin Season 1 is finally out, so we got a whole new set of toys to play with, so without further ado, let's talk ship.
Something tells me that today will be a happy...
Now I'm gonna use the same tier list I used last time, but to give the quick rundown, for our top tier we have top tier, but in caps. This is for the ships that I like the most, the ones that I would fight in the comments and pay money to see. Sorry, let me rephrase that and be clear. A reasonable amount of money to see. This is for the best, be it just the cutest, the most interesting, or just hits that sweet spot that can't be denied even if it makes no sense logically. After that, we got problematic faves. Now I'm gonna level with you. This tier made way more sense in Hell of a Boss where I pretty much was just inventing new ways for Blitz to be toxic. So calling this one here problematic might be a little bit of a stretch. But I like the title so it stays as the number 2 slot cause this is my list and I can do what I want. Could I change it? Absolutely. Will I? Well, to answer that question, look at my banner, where it mentions sarcastic summaries, which I haven't done in like 2 years. Clearly, I'm bad at doing updates. So I guess I'll start now. We're calling this couple goals. Next up, we got 7 out of 10. I've said this once and I'll say it again. 7 out of 10 is a polite person's 5. It's what people say when they don't want to offend and they don't want to say, oh, what they actually think. But in this case, I really am just saying it's good. This is for all the ships that I like, but don't love them. They don't keep me up at night wondering how I can manifest this into reality. It's also for the ships that I'm too scared to rank any lower. Not gonna tell you which ones, but I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. Definitely not getting held hostage or anything.
Let's kill him!
Followed up with See the Vision. Now, if 7 out of 10 are the ones I really like, See the Vision are the ones that I like, but are just kind of okay. These are the ships that while I can see why other people would love them, I'm not gonna be the one going out to find fan art. If I find some, cool. If not, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. This is effectively the middle tier, but it's not mid. It's just okay and not hitting my personal preference in a subjective list. Speaking of which, next tier is not for me, cause sometimes you just gotta top out of a ship. No disrespect, no hate, I'm just gonna let this one be on its way. These are ships I don't think are bad, but I also don't really care too much about them. If this is your jam, cool, but I'm not gonna be rooting for any of these ships to be set out to sea. If it does, cool. I'm not mad, just disappointed. Or bored. Mostly it's the boredom. Unlike in the next tier where I will bring gasoline to burn this bitch down. Nah bro is me putting my foot down. We're not doing this. It's cute that you think it will happen, but you really should be keeping this to yourself. This is a tier where I go from not caring to actively disagreeing because of one reason or another. Maybe it's just that the couple is trash. Maybe I think there's some unaddressed issues that we should really dig into. This is for the ships that I can still kind of live and let live, but just know I am judging you. Then finally, we have the worst of the worst, my least favorite ships, the ones I personally will never be caught talking about, and we're just gonna call this one Stop It. Just stop it. These are the ships that should be left in a file named work stuff and pray your mom, your partner, and the cops never catch you with them. Am I being hyperbolic about this? Yeah, of course I am. But this is the bottom tier, so I at least have to try and make it sound bad. There's problematic, and then there's this. We all have our personal icks, and this one is gonna be full of mine. Now, without further ado, let's actually start the list.
You like girls! Yes, so do I! We have so much in common! You put her there, Maggie!
Alright, one more thing. Welcome everyone who skipped to this time code. I know someone did it, and I see you. Alright, actual list time. And we're starting off with Lucifer x Eve. Now, one thing I want to make clear is that I used a random number generator to make this tier list, but even though this was random, I could not have picked a better ship to start with, as this is pure headcanon. As while I'm personally not at a point where I'd buy Lucifer's used socks and bathwater, I actually really like the idea of him hooking up with Eve, even though it's apparently already happened.
Your first wife Velvette didn't seem to hate what I had to offer. For the second.
Personally, I have a little pet theory going that Eve is the one who made the deal with Alastor, that she's the one pulling his strings and the one he's trying to escape from, as I really like the idea that Eve is actually gonna be a villain. Made a whole video about it, go check it out, even though half of it kinda got killed by Lilith being in heaven. But my main idea still stands. But for me though, the appeal is that Eve probably would hate Lucifer and Lilith, as, put it from this perspective, we haven't seen her in heaven. She's the one who took the bite of the apple. So if she got sent to hell and is not living in a fat house while her ex's ex and her baby daddy got to live their best lives, I'd hate their guts too. So the idea here is that Eve would come back into the story and would despise Lucifer, and that's just very fun to me. As with the implications that Lilith switched teams, Charlie is gonna need a new stepmom, and almost as much as Lucifer is gonna need this rebound. So the idea that it being the second woman, one with maybe a little bit more jaded perspective on hell, I think that would be very fun, especially a good balance of Lucifer's goofy energy. Eve could really just be a straight up villain, and I would still be on board for this shit. As after Wish robbed us of a perfectly good villain couple, I might as well get a nominal villain with her golden retriever boyfriend. So the story can go to hell, and wishful thinking wins the day here, cause I'm putting this in couple goals, based on nothing but the concept I made up in my head, like any true crazy person.
Oh, look, the drunk sobered up long enough to judge us.
Now here's a real hot take. Husk x Cherry Bomb is just Husker Dusk for straight people. Like, I shit you not, this is basically the same setup with less drama, less interest, and way more drugs. Cherry is pretty much the party friend of the hotel. She doesn't want to be better, she's happy, she's perfectly content with who she is. Meanwhile, Husk is a burnt out gambler who's trapped working for a freak. These two could absolutely work together, but in every way we see them interact, you can pretty much have the exact same thing happen, but with Angel Dust. The first time they met was them fighting over how too much of a good time Angel should have, only for Husk to win when Angel picks getting just shit-faced. You can have Husk play the curmudgeon who weans Cherry back when she goes too far. They'd also have hate sex while arguing over what path Angel should take. Any way you cut this one, it's just Husk repeating what he did with Angel Dust. Cherry could make him have more fun, but this ship on its own, it doesn't speak to me. So I'm gonna give it a less than respectful not for me. I don't think it's awful, but I do think it's pretty redundant, as by every metric, the only thing this thing is really giving is giving more representation to people who are too chicken to ask for a Husk x Femme Angel Dust. They're cowards, but we're moving on. Next up, we got Fuck Go Back. Oh, I knew this was coming. Really didn't think I have to bite this bullet so soon. Valentino x Vox is a difficult ship to talk about, as on one hand, I think the two of them together is crazy fun. When we first saw them together, yeah, they were probably hooking up. Yeah, Val Stu was making Vox want to put his head through a wall. But then the finale confirmed that yes, they are hooking up. No surprise. And they have the potential to be insanely fun together. Seeing them put their little feet up on the table while trying to look badass while knowing that they are gonna get their shit rocked is just a funny yet cool image to see. These two could honestly be couple goals to me if it wasn't for one itty bitty minor, barely even worth mentioning fact.
I own you!
Yeah, Valentino's a Weinstein. He owns Angel's soul, abuses him, and the show is making Val just a little bit too funny for my taste. Love the design, love the voice acting. Any ship this man is in is gonna have to contend with that little fact about his character. So while a part of my soul wants to embrace the pageantry of this villain couple, I think the only responsible thing to do is to just drop them one full rank. So they're going in 7 out of 10, cause I'm basic, and while what they were saying was nonsense, their song slapped. Sue me.
Oh, that's hot.
Now for a completely unhinged opinion, Nifty being with anybody is immediately funny to me. I love her adorable unhinged nature and her obsession with bad boys, only to be disappointed when Charlie unfortunately fixes them, when clearly Nifty wants to make them worse. Vox x Nifty just tickles my funny bone in all the right ways. Making it even more fun to me is just theorizing about how this is gonna play out next season. Nifty was the one who killed Adam. Hell, caught it on camera, and it would fit perfectly in Vox's MO to try and use her for clout, ingratiating himself with her, only for his barely contained evil side to be the thing that actually gets her going. It sadly won't last, since Vox isn't nearly as cool as he pretends to be, but for a short fling, these two would be fire, since the master of manipulation, the king of fake news, the demon with actual hypnosis powers, even he wouldn't be able to control this girl. Stage fright. So all his work is gonna be in vain, and I can't wait to see it happen. 7 out of 10, makes no sense, but I like it.
What can I do for such a...
No, thank you.
Okay, how the fuck did I get 3 V's in a row? That number calculator was a lie, cause this is way too much Valentino for my taste. But if we're talking Valentino x Charlie, then I really just have one question. Have you read Metamorphosis? If not, good. If yes, you know exactly where I think this shit would go. Besides Lucifer killing him, and I'm telling you, no, don't look that shit up. Stop it, don't use Google, this isn't that kind of search.
If you're doing it, stop it.
I promise you, you're better off not knowing. Kinda like this ship. Nah, bro, it goes. The only reason this isn't at the bottom is just the joy I feel when I imagine Lucifer and Vaggie coming together and killing Valentino. Moving on, we got that one guy. This rando in the photo with Charlie is Seviathan von Eldritch, a member of the von Eldritch family, members of Hell's upper class. Seviathan is Charlie's ex-boyfriend. They went to prom. She apparently grew to hate his sister. This is overall just a fun tidbit about Charlie's past that may or may not cause problems later. We know nothing about this man. Allegedly, according to the holy live streams, he's a big jerk Chad, but none of that really matters, as I just want to take the time to point out how this guy is basically just Lucifer in green face. I mean, look at him, he's got the hair, the smile, even wearing a hat the same way. Her family may have pressured her into this, but her daddy issues probably kept her there, for like at least a month. These two are grade A fuel for somebody, but this is not for me. We don't have enough info to go there, the Lucifer thing just makes it kinda funny. That's it. He has no personality other than that, which does make him like every dad lookalike I've known.
Gross! I'd never think of it, Spider.
Look, I don't know what Pentious would be like as a dad, but he's clearly looking for a son, and he's willing to put one in anybody. Pentious is what I would describe as rival sexual. It takes the bare minimum of interactions for him to immediately imagine the rest of his life with a person. It's less what I'm looking for and more who wants me, which unfortunately does not include Angel Dust. Pentious x Angel Dust is just kinda to me. They're both basically pretty locked down into bigger ships that I'll get into later, so the magnetic pull is really pulling them into different directions. So there really isn't that much room to imagine them hooking up. I mean, Angel has clocked the fact that he has 2 dicks, so either Angel has really seen him naked, or he watched him in topless like all the other cool kids.
That every snake that has a dick has 2 dicks. And that's a true fact about our world.
I don't have a strong angle that I could see these two going. We could say that these two work together to be better people than making amends after their rough intro, or just say F it and make them the clown couple with kids, raising Nugget and the Egg Boys with a white picket fence and all. But none of that is really doing it for me. I'm open to anybody with a stronger pitch. I don't think it's bad. I'm just not seeing the vision. So, not for me it goes.
Thanks, pussycat.
Oh, fuck you.
Now, I'm one of the rare Mimsy enjoyers, best in limited doses of course, and never the focus, but I'm not gonna lie, Husk and Mimsy hooking up is not the worst thing in the world. Her annoying Husk is way more fun to me than when Angel does it. Dude really just dipped out of the room when she wasn't looking, and they're basically giving old married couple by cartoon standards. I just think the cliche-ridden part of my brain is just working overtime, but of all the weirdos here, giving Husk a fail wife that constantly keeps spending their money and just getting them into all sorts of trouble, it does it for me. Cherry Bomb would be too wild, but Mimsy hits that old-timey couple vibe and it works with Husk's jaded outlook. So, weird as it is to say, I can see the vision with this one. Not the best thing in the world, but I know an old married couple when I see one.
The ultimate bad boy. I bet he's scary.
Now, I've already said my piece about Nifty hooking with anybody being gold for me, but I just think we need to be clear. Nifty isn't a child, she's a gremlin, who's 22. I know, I thought she'd be older as well. But her hooking with Lucifer is just a strange yet captivating couple to me. I don't think the show could handle this much manic pixie gremlin energy, but these two just cause hell to implode. And I kinda wanna see it happen. On a more serious note, if Alastor dies, Nifty ending up with Lucifer would just be an interesting way to deal with it, as Lucifer clearly has regrets about not being in his daughter's life, so him having this little gremlin in his life would just be an interesting way to fill the void, since Charlie clearly has too much in her life going on to be in it. Nifty could stab all the duckies and use them to kill bugs, which would be great to see. So I'm gonna say see the vision for these two. Would be fun? Yeah, father-daughter thing, a little bit fucked up, but honestly, the short people need to stick together. But the ship sadly does need a stronger hook than Nifty's surprise dump truck ass. Alright, after that we have something even more cracked. Vaggie x Cherry Bomb. Now these two could do amazing things together as a tag team murder duo. Cherry's got bombs, Vaggie's got a spear, they would kill everyone in sight, and that's kind of about it. Yeah, for as much as I like envisioning something, these two together, it's not giving me much. It would be rough to see Pentious come back to hell to see his girlfriend with someone else, but that person doesn't have to specifically be Vaggie, and he'd probably be into watching. If I were to give these two any real credit, is I think they'd be great as like good friends if given the chance to hang out, but as we haven't really seen Vaggie actually party yet in the series, and my money's on her being able to drink everyone else under the table, as those military brats are built different. This couple, however, is not for me. Great as like a team, they would be fighting machines, but it doesn't woo me. But they would have a matching X theme, which is kind of cool.
I can suck your dick.
Now this one is something special. Not to me, I don't give a shit. But historically, Radio Dust was one of the biggest ships. People ate these two up with a shovel, and I can see why. They're popular. Radio Dust gives me big celebrity couple energy. Yes, we invent a story where Angel gets in a relationship with somebody who doesn't want him for his body, tying into Alastor being Arrow Ace. And before you try correcting me about the aromantic part, just know I'm right.
Why aren't you having sex with blah blah blah? Well, because I'm asexual.
Suck it. But to me, while I understand the appeal of having hot people be hot together, Radio Dust has just never been it for me. Sure, Alastor is the straight man to Angel's sex jokes. Angel is the only person to get slightly under Alastor's skin in the pilot. From just that pilot, it was all we got. Then the show happened, and they talked like at max twice.
If you film me going at it with Mr. Fancy Talk Creepy Voice here,
Never going to happen.
So tragically, I gotta say, despite the full show coming out, this ship's stock just, it hasn't risen for me. Best thing I can say is I don't have any reasons to hate it, but it's just not for me. I mean, especially since Radio Apple just showed up and immediately ate its lunch. Alright, follow up the most popular ship with the one people don't even know exists. This is Charlie x Helsa von Eldritch. As why date the brother when you have the sister who hates you? Helsa is the character who appeared in the pilot. Was talked up in the live stream because it's always a live stream as being Charlie's rich girl rival. Now I know that sounds fun, but the pace the show is going, we probably won't have any time to see her in any significant capacity. So really we're just left off with a potential hypothetical Pacifica on our hands. This could be funny, it could be bland, but I'm honestly inclined to just say I like this a little bit less than the brother, as it doesn't have the daddy issues, but they're really about on the same level for me, which is it's not. Next we got Alastor x Rosie. Now before we get into it, I think we just have a quick moment to talk about the annoying but minor elephant in the room. Some people don't like the idea of shipping Alastor with anybody since he's Arrow Ace, hence he wouldn't be into the whole Rule 34 shipping he's being dunked in nightly. Personally though, I don't have a problem with it. Shipping is fandom nonsense, it has no bearing on the show, it's fantasy. If you're not trying to force it to be canon, then it's truly a victimless crime. Truly, ship this away, none of this shit will happen anyway, so you might as well have fun with it. As the actual show's representation matters way more than somebody's side hustle. So showing Alastor getting freaky with somebody, it doesn't matter. The personal connection you feel with the character in the show is what really should, not how the character is presented by the lowest common denominator. But to talk about the ship, Alastor x Rosie is cute to me. Better friends and lovers. Before talking about finding someone for Alastor who you could live and kill people with, I think Rosie is honestly the best fit in the show. There's just something so funny about how Alastor only really likes the people who grew up in the same era as he did. Husk, Mimsy, Rosie. If you didn't grow up during Prohibition, you are prohibited from seeing him pretend to know you. These two yucking up while talking shit about Susan is just an image that will take me a while to get tired of. These two would make for a cute couple of convenience and cannibalism, so I'm willing to give it a solid 7 out of 10. Okay, Pentious and Emily is something that appeals to me for one reason, and one reason only. I want Pentious to have mad pull in heaven. First sinner to ever make it there, class clown to cock of the walk. If he's gonna get laid, this is where it's gonna happen. No, it doesn't have to be Emily, but if he's gonna start somewhere, it might as well be with the girl who said she was gonna help, only to not do shit in the finale. Emily is ecstatic about Pentious being in heaven, and you know they're gonna be spending a lot of time together. So let's keep this one simple and say I see the vision, as I like the idea, but I know it fits way better with somebody else. Oh my god. Nifty x Adam is something I cooked up because for all of Nifty's talk about wanting bad boys, Adam is the second original bad boy, who just happened to be the worst in the most boring kind of way. So if Nifty was jonesing for an evil hubby, I can see her get excited for Adam, only for her to be horrified when she realizes that he's not bad, he just sucks, breaking her of her habit, and then she kills him. As she loves to kill bugs, and Adam is as low as they come. We could work in something about them growing closer after Adam potentially manifests in hell as a sinner, the inverse of what happened to Pentious, but Nifty is pure chaos, so I think she'd be chasing him around with a poker most of the time, so while not the worst idea in the world, I'm not seeing a way Adam really turns around to appreciate her crazy. So just gonna go, not for me. Solid idea, but it depends way too much on execution that we'll probably never get.
Now, are you familiar with the gear shift?
You mean the Prindle?
The what?
Vaggie x Angel Dust is a pairing that would have hooked up in any other show. Flat out, if this was like on Disney Channel, they would have been a side couple that suddenly got together and were hiding the fact from the rest of the gang. Vaggie despises how Angel Dust treats everything like a joke. Angel thinks Vaggie has a stick up her ass. It's a match made in Saturday morning cartoons, and I kinda hate how much my brain has been thoroughly rotted that I just see the tropes.
You're still not my type.
You make me sick.
Now Now personally, I think these two would be mostly fun together, not something I'd be jonesing for, but out of all the other weird pairings I can imagine in the show, I look at them and immediately understand exactly the arc that they would have. I don't think it'd be great, but it would be fun to watch. So I think they would be 7 out of 10. I like them more apart than I do together. Also, the second they start being respectful towards one another, the second I lose interest. Sorry, for these two, them's the rules. Next up we have... Oh boy, Alastor x Charlie. Now this is another ship that is historically super popular, and I would like to extend my condolences to everyone who still held this ship in their hearts, only for Alastor to say he's like a dad to her and killed public perception of this ship. Truly, ship went from wasn't gonna happen, but it was still a saucy romance book you'd read, a la Court of Thorns and Roses. Side note, fuck Rysand, rip Lucian's personality, but the bad boy with a soft center and the woman who would get to know the real him. All that smutty appeal, but now you can't really bring these two up in polite conversation without getting jumped in the comments.
She calls you dad, she calls me daddy.
I know Al doesn't actually see her as a daughter, but this one was pretty much tailor-made to give this ship grief, which isn't the biggest L in the world for me, but if I'm being honest, Charlie already has her boo. Alastor doesn't need to be dating Charlie for a redemption story, or we have the reveal that he's always been better than everyone thought he was, even though the actual writing makes him look way worse, but the story doesn't want to address that. Charlie x Alastor is a neat little idea, but it's again that celebrity couple thing of one of the most popular female characters being paired with the most popular male character. I think this one has more ground to stay on than Radio Dust, but it still just sits at see the vision for me. I don't want to be the guy who says all the most popular ships in the show are mid, but I am saying that while there's potential, aesthetic is carrying most of these pilot preemies, with the show not doing enough to really reinforce the characters to give us some juicy chemistry. So I guess what I'm saying is cry harder. This is my list. Next up we got Mimsy x Lucifer. I'm not gonna say she's a gold digger. Mimsy is a ball of chaos who leaves a shit show wherever she goes, messing with some loan sharks, stealing a car just to hit somebody, with no one who knows her being surprised when they hear the details. So this is a semi-regular occurrence for her. Now Lucifer is also a ball of chaos, but while he's the fun kind of chaos unless you're related, then it's just accidental neglect, Lucifer and Mimsy just, I don't think would gel well. I think Mimsy and Lucifer, despite being on a similar wavelength, are just going in completely different directions. Not to mention this is Lucifer's get responsible phase. He built his daughter a house just so he can move in. So I don't think he's really looking for that energy in his life. Not to mention the fact that he's definitely not over his wife. So for these two, I'm just gonna put them in not for me, as not offensive, but also not great.
Decent flight of fancy? Tell me.
You know, it took me forever to remember that this was Zestial in the pilot, but in the show, Alastor x Zestial is pretty solid. Another pairing between overlords, Zestial is allegedly the oldest one in hell, meaning that he's behind the times just how Alastor likes him. Sadly though, they're giving more work buddies than lovers. Like these are the guys I would like to see hang out and have a drink, but the hookup is just kinda besides the point. They both have that Eldritch abomination thing going on, but that's more a commonality than a true connection. Zestial knows Alastor well enough to just casually ask him where he's been all these years, with Alastor playing coy and wondering, whoa, what have people been saying about me? Since, you know, he's secretly a gossip, but this is all friend vibes. I can see someone loving this, but for me, it's not. Fuck me. How'd I ever do this? Pentious x Charlie is a ship that's either the dumbest couple in the world or the cutest. I can't decide which. Like seriously, they're both head empty extremists. One is trying to be the goodest girl while the other is trying to be the baddest boy and failing at it. Even if they're not dating, like I think to me they have like surprise sibling energy. Though when you throw Vaggie in the mix, he starts to feel like their kid. Charlie and Pentious though,
it makes no damn sense. Compels me though.
I can actually see this working, but I also know that it has no reason to exist. They had one song together, but Pentious proved that he's the first to really latch on to Charlie's life coach shenanigan. He may not be trusting, but he'll give anything a shot. As a couple though, I have no idea where to put them. Like I actually really wish we just got more of them together, but my gut instinct is that Charlie is gonna sob herself silly when she finds out Pentious made it to heaven, making him her first success and oh, this is Chica. Oh, I know where I've seen this before. Oh, okay, yeah, that. 7 out of 10 just for that comparison alone. Vox x Angel Dust. This ship comes in two flavors. Either you want a radio dust that has a chance at happening, or you're a sucker for abuse stories where you can't sit by and watch any longer. The fact that these two don't really have a moment to interact, kinda crazy to me. We got the one guy look, then he disappears. But for a man in charge of the television, you think you'd have Angel on one of his million TV shows. Angel Hub Reviews or something like that. Maybe Val just doesn't like to share, which yeah, probably the answer. I do like the little hints that Vox doesn't care for Angel, though he is probably just sick of hearing Val complain about him, as he looked kind of excited when he heard Angel might have left. If we're trying to hook up these two though, then we basically have to spend the whole time explaining how they got rid of Valentino, which him getting hurt is pretty much the whole point of this thing. Vox can see through all of his screens, he watches everything that goes on, and while he may control everything, he's secretly insecure about his own power, which could put him in a very similar position to Angel, as feeling like he's only as good as his next job, constantly running to avoid obsolescence. But while Vox is still staying relevant, part of Angel is just excited for the crash and the freedom that would come along with it. If Vox ever got kicked out of the V's, I could actually see these two hitting it off if Angel doesn't like shoot him in the head first for just standing around the whole time. But when it comes to two people complaining about all this shit Val has put them through, I don't think anyone would be better podcast partners than these two. So being a sucker for Vox in the context of a fallout with Val, I don't know why. Maybe it's just I'm feeling generous, but I'm gonna say Vox and Angel Dust find a couple goals. I just think they'd be really fun together if given the chance, and they'd unalive Valentino, so that's a plus. You know, it will never not be funny to me how many people assume Vaggie and Carmilla were related. I mean, they both speak Spanish, they both have white hair, they have the same gray skin, and actually, yeah, I kind of see it now. But these two together, nah. Carmilla may be mother, but these two have the biggest mentor-mentee vibes in the entire series. Throw in the fact that they already look like they're related, we pretty much have to go out of our way to make this hookup a thing. Plus, Carmilla has already got two kids who look older than Vaggie, so all we got left is the song. I can see people making animatics about this to put it into a romantic context, but I'm seeing people bring more themselves into this ship than what's actually there, which I respect, but this is going to be a nah bro for me. Sorry to all 12 of you, but this ship, it isn't it. Next up, we have... Just stop it. All right, my comment section. I challenge you to give me one reason Val and Angel Dust should be ranked any higher. Like, in what world will I rank them anything but the bottom? Like, besides kink and edge. And explain to me why I should do that in a public video. No answer? Yeah, I didn't think so. And the only thing in my mind is that the fandom is really enjoying Valentino, because he's goofy and villain couple. I know I gave him a pass on just the one ship. By every other metric, this ship is gonna get left in the dumpster and set on fire. Well, we all agree to never speak of it again. All in agreement? Good. Let's move on.
The bad boy is back. Never leave me again.
Alright, Pentious x Nifty is okay. It was our first intro into Nifty's bad boy fetish, but Cherry Bomb is with Pentious for a reason. And with all honesty, Pentious is crazy enough to actually date Nifty. He's a good boy, she's a crackhead. If you had asked me halfway through the first season, I would have been slightly more positive on this. Right now, Nifty will be enjoying killing his minions way more than spending time with him. Nifty isn't his child, but in his crew, she'd be more companion than Big C companion. If Pentious had a Pokeball, she'd be his Pikachu. Nah bro, it is. Sadly, even Pen can't catch them all. Also though, these two are cute. They don't understand each other, but they don't have to, and they are just completely on the same wavelength. Unlike Husk, who feels like he's being forced to do this shit, Nifty feels like Alastor just asked her to show up, and she did, no questions asked. The scene they share on the balcony is great. It's the closest Alastor feels to ever being genuine. But Nifty is equal parts sounding board as she is a person. So I can't really say she's evoking this humanity out of him. He was just in that kind of mood, and she is just as unhinged as he is. It fits that they'd hang out, but I'm not sure that they would date. If we had a spin-off, I would love to see them travel together as like some evil Nanny McPhee. But as a ship, I can't really rank them that high. But in honor of Al opening up to one person, I'm just gonna put them in See the Vision. Out of everyone, Rosie and Nifty seem like the only two people Alastor has like an unambiguous positive relationship with. Not just mutual respect like with Zestial. So just gonna be nice. Put it on the more positive side, even though the ship itself isn't the best. All right, now we have Vox x Velvette.
Al, looks like you have everything under control here.
Of course I do. Fuck you. Now shoo.
These two kind of don't have much going on. Vox x Valentino is soaking up all the villain chemistry. She's not the third wheel, but she's definitely doing her own thing most of the time. Vox is the one who manages Val's tantrums. Velvette is just kind of trying to get shit done. We could try and find a scenario where the two of them get sick of Val's shit and just remove him from being alive, but I think we would get more out of them going closer from Val's passing. Like, they weren't the closest before, but now all they have is each other in a crumbling empire. Honestly, I'm still waiting for Velvette to find a ship that like works better than her with Carmilla, but at the moment these two just have best friend energy, which is very much the vibe. They have their fight parts. Not for me. I want to love them more, like them individually. They just don't have that couple thing going, unlike some other ships, like the next one.
Norris chirping. Every day he's got a new format. You're looking at the future. He's the shit that comes before that.
I fucking love this ship. There's a whole video I did make because I was sick the week before the finale, but to boil it down to a quick summary, what I love about them is that they are foils. Vox is clearly an Alastor copycat. He's stealing his look, being media-based, even trying to be intimidating just like him. But while Al can pull off all of those things, Vox is scrambling for dear old Daddy Alastor to take him seriously, viewing him as a rival while Alastor just plays him off as a nuisance. Their duo is one of my favorites in the show, but this isn't the thing that got me to really ship them. No, what actually got me came later, when it was revealed that Alastor made a deal with someone else, revealing that these two are way more alike than we first thought, and that Alastor is a fat hypocrite.
Is Vox as strong as he purports, or is it based on his support?
Big talk for someone who's also on a leash.
He's not wrong, but Al isn't much better. He's famous in universe for being way too powerful for his rank, so if Alastor also had help from someone else, then he would be everything that he claims to hate about Vox. Calling him a show-off desperate for attention, meanwhile Alastor is very prickly about people who aren't talking about him, making a show of wiping out loan sharks to prove something to the rest of hell. Alastor may not change his medium every week, but he is hungry for recognition. He's just better at hiding it, which makes me love the idea of these two together. Vox is everything that Alastor hates about himself. Vox is trying to be like Alastor, just lacks the self-control. Killing Al is his kink, and he is ready to do anything to see it happen. The supposed mortal enemies thing, though, is undercut by just how he originally tried to team up with Al, betraying the fact that he once viewed him as an equal worth working with. Maybe Vox was a former fan who idolized Alastor and had his own ideas about how to make his shows even better, only for Al to shut that down. Alex Vox is just a gold mine, with Vox just constantly failing to off Alastor, still desperately in some way trying to get his approval, and if he got it, he would be putty in Alastor's hands. This ship, it's top tier. I'm not a complicated man, but I know what I like, and these two are delivering.
That's the tea.
Followed up with Velvette x Carmilla.
I'm here to represent. Charming.
These two are like the last ship, but not as good. From what we see, these two don't have the same level of history or vitriol. Velvette just thinks she's the new hotness and is too busy working on her image to recognize the fight that she can't win against Heaven, disrespecting the queen in her own house, so it's no surprise that I like them. Velvette needs to be taken down a peg, but she was right on the money about all of her assumptions. This couple isn't deep, but the hate sex will be amazing. Not good enough for goals, but since it's the best of both of their ships, yeah, we'll just put this in 7 out of 10 and be happy.
Yes!
Oh, this is gonna ruin my comment section, but Cherry Bomb and Pentious, it's not top tier for me.
Move this man!
Yeah, get out of your system. But this one, it's personal. These two hit all the hallmarks of what would be a great ship. Yet in spite of all that, I don't think it's fully grown on me. It's a ship that's carried by Pentious being a good boy and everyone wanting good things to happen to him. So while I'm down for him to clown, I'm not actually sure Cherry Bomb is the best match. As if I'm being honest, while the kiss was hot, she'll probably get bored of him in a week. This ship has all the big things that train a person to want. I'm just not convinced they'll actually stay together. Yes, he will be in heaven in a couple ways. He's giving big lock it down vibes, while Cherry feels like she's just more for something a little bit more casual. So I know the show wants me to want them, but it's very brief, it's fun, but it's only really just a 7 out of 10. Maybe Pentious' death was a little bit less of a joke, but this is a good heat of the finale type deal. You think this is gonna be the love of your life till you wake up the next day. Next.
Hey there, Vagosaurus!
Oh yeah, this one sucks. Only reasons here is that I'm still curious about what the exorcists actually are, as Adam says he named Vaggie. So is he like dad, her creator? Garbage ship, but there is a mystery that I just kinda wanna know about. As a couple, Adam is the guy who helped mutilate and leave Vaggie for dead. He's a sexist pig who Vaggie is way too good for, and she is not nearly racist enough to stand by him. This is really just stop it. Just stop it. We're not entertaining this shit, everyone here can do better, except for Adam, he deserves worse. Alright, time for another set of characters that haven't spoken or interacted once this entire series. Eve x Lilith, which is, well,
their love is vile and blasphemous.
Hot as fuck, though.
Both were the first women made for Adam. Both made decisions that may have turned them against humanity, so we have a lot of common ground here and just as much potential for beef. I can see this going either way. I've heard a lot of people try and figure out how Eve and Lilith are really the same person, but all those implications, I'm not sure they add more than they take away. Trouble with Lucifer, sure, I'd be down. Lilith ditching Lucifer to hang out with Eve in heaven would be something. I just wish I could say one way or another where this might go, as we know nothing about Lilith's actual personality, only what Charlie thinks of her, and the fact that she made a deal with Adam. Lilith had been doing this for her own gain, maybe she just needed a vacation. This ship is a Way in Type C situation, so I'm just gonna file it in as not for me and readjust later as needed, as this will go great or go wrong very quickly.
Thank you for letting your guard down. Oh, shit.
Okay, this is only in here for completionist reasons. Pentious x Alastor could have had some fuel to that fire. Pentious thinks fighting is basically flirting, so him imagining this grand war with Alastor could have led to him gushing for the other villain, but we didn't get that. Instead, what we have is a neat idea that is the spare parts of other better ships. Pentious doesn't have the ego to really be on Alastor's level. Pairing Al with someone we know is beneath him and he could bully is always just a bit of an alright decision for me, as he's pretty much like that with most of the cast, so it's not unique. Honestly, I like Al being with the Egg Boys more than with their boss Pentious, as Pen just goes along with the madness while Al is just being tested, only for him to be shocked that they're useful and decide to spare their lives. Pen x Alastor over here is just another not for me.
Could end up like Lucifer.
My ex.
Lucifer and Sarah banged and you can't convince me otherwise. This one has committed atrocities in the name of keeping heaven safe and keeping herself as far from her ex as possible. We're still a little unclear on the hierarchy of heaven if Lucifer was one of the top angels before his fall, or if he was just like a high-ranking member but not super popular. He may not have been at the top, since we see a bunch of weird-headed guys bullying him. I saw for some people can boo-hoo for him, but this video is already ballooned way past what I expected. Lucifer is someone that I just assume has slept with everybody he met before Lilith. He's got that Roger Rabbit riz. So having the Sarah and Lucifer having hooked up in the past adds a whole new dimension to their characters, but more specifically Sarah's. Her decision to then slaughter Hell, she is just terrified of ending up like him, so she sticks to her duty even when it requires monstrous actions. While Lucifer fully abandoned his dreams to go play with ducks. Lucifer honestly is just good with any serious taller woman, so let's just put this one in 7 out of 8.
Rip Vaggie's mouth out her ass!
You just chill, Lute. Fuck.
Adam and Lute work weirdly well. They're both awful, but they clearly deserve each other. They went from Adam being a clear dupe with a way more competent sidekick, to Adam suddenly having his head in the game more than his overzealous side woman. That final look when he died, yeah, she loved him. Still unsure about how the exorcism creation thing works, but Lute and Adam were easily one of the most fun duos in the show. Best used sparingly, but deliciously insufferable every time they showed up. This KK couple was awful, and I'm glad he's dead, but they were couple goals. Just not a goal I want to support.
What the fuck?
For my collection.
Nifty x Valentino has about as much appeal as a snake dating a mouse. Best case scenario, he chokes to death swallowing what he can't handle. Nifty can get it, but this one catch is best left untouched. He's really just the worst. But the show wants him to be fun, so here he is, being shipped with pretty much everyone. One positive, it would be very fitting for Nifty to be the one to end him, as he is the biggest bug on this side of hell. But I don't want it. Nah bro, nah bro it goes.
Simple filth like you has no place in heaven.
Yep, the racist and Vaggie. Now, I know someone's gonna assume, oh, Lute's not racist, she's specious, but come on, let's not pretend. Vaggie x Lute is the kind of ship I should love, but it doesn't really do anything for me here. Vaggie's already dating Charlie, so it's less, oh, look at the angry people hooking up, and more, oh, Vaggie left Charlie to go crawling back to the woman who maimed her. Yeah, not an easy sell. Love the two as rivals. They need to kill each other at some point in this series, as Lute, post-Adam, is gonna be thirsting for revenge. Before talking as an actual ship, I'm just kinda iffy on it. As on one hand, you can always say this is like a prequel type romance. They hooked up before Lute betrayed Vaggie, so there's this messed up sexual tension going on here. In the moment, in the show that we have, I think this ship's energy would be better spent on different people, especially since they're basically the same person, just give or take some rage. They're at their best where they're at right now. Adding romance is just a complication they don't need, as Vaggie's personality is too defined by her partners already, so we don't need a second. This one is not for me.
What a strong one.
Excuse me. Didn't realize this was a drink to forget kind of night.
Look, I still think Husk x Angel Dust work perfectly as a mentor-mentee type relationship, but I won't deny that this is absolutely gonna happen. And it's cute. Like, there's really nothing here I can add that I didn't say in my previous video. These two are so like that it only makes sense that they would gravitate towards each other. Husk knows everything that Angel is going through, from suffering from addiction to being mistreated by the person who owns their soul. Husk just wants Angel to skip the step where he wastes his life self-destructing and move on to something more positive, serving as the voice of slight disapproval when he nearly slips into bad habits. But Angel rubs off on Husk too, with their banner turning from harassment into something actually playful even when they're about to die. These two are great together, and even if it's not in a romantic sense, I still would put them in top tier. These two are fun around each other, and at the end of the day, that's really all I'm looking for from these ships. It's not about good or bad, it's really more of a battle between boredom and entertainment.
Hi, I'm Emily.
Oh no!
I get it, but people were way too quick to start shipping Emily with Charlie. Like, Vaggie being an angel was just a footnote in this discussion. People were either talking about the song or hyping these two up. Emily is just pretty much Charlie in white. They're paragons who want nothing but happiness and rainbows for everybody. Emily didn't know about the exterminations her sister approved of. Emily switched teams immediately, and then she just hung out until Pentious suddenly appeared in heaven, which will give her ammo to start arguing for sinner redemption. There's absolutely a world where you can ship Charlie and Emily together where their love is the bridge between heaven and hell, ignoring the fact that Vaggie is also an angel, but she's grumpy, so she doesn't match the aesthetic, so fuck her, I guess. Em and Charlie have big theater couple energy. This is basically a self-ship. They would sing and hang out all day every day if you let them, and it'll probably just be the cuddle couple. If you don't find them insufferable, you will adore them. I'm kinda in between, though I do think it's just mostly good. Vaggie is right there. We're not talking thruples though, so this one is just 7 out of 10. I see the appeal, I like it, but Vaggie is somewhere off sobbing over all of this.
One speaks to Zestial that way.
Oh, they fucking.
Zestial x Carmilla is already canon in my head, and you can't convince me otherwise. I was ready for Carmilla's kids to call him dad. They have business partners turned secret lovers written all over them. Carmilla snapped the second Velvette started insulting Zest, so they really aren't even trying to hide it at this point. Yes, they could just be friends and Carmilla just hates Velvette's ass, but he's got the big chair right next to her. He's the one who goes into her office after the meeting gets canceled, but when it comes to a secret that could trigger a war between heaven and hell, she drops the act and just lets him know way too fast. Like, it was obvious and he figured it out, but still. This isn't the most wild chips, but I like it. Not crazy enough for couple goals, but easy 7 out of 10. If these two approach you at a bar though, run away. You would not survive. Do not even attempt.
Like the first man, Adam, that means you.
That explains so much.
So what's the over-under on Adam and Lilith hooking up in the last 7 years? We know he's a frat boy, that he also made a deal with Lilith, so if you told me that he smuggled Lilith into heaven just in exchange for sex, I would believe it. This could be an interesting ship, but it really all depends on what Lilith turns out to be in season 2. If she's a complicated person who just needed a break, wanted to rest in heaven versus rule in hell, or she could just be that bitch. Something this franchise is very good at doing. Personally, I don't really care if they hooked up. This is a ship that on its own is kind of just eh. How it affects everyone else is way more interesting. How will Charlie handle the fact that her mom starts sleeping with the enemy? How will Lucifer react to find out that his game wasn't that good after all the shit he talked? This is a hard one, as on its own, the ship is pretty much settling back into mediocrity, but for how much of a shit show it would cause the rest of the cast, I love it. So this goes into See the Vision, and I think the fall alone deserves that. All right, let's talk about the other Lilith ship.
You're going down there and stopping that bitch. You understand me?
Lute x Lilith is kinda mid. Yeah, angry soldier in the wound we don't know anything about. At least with Adam and Lilith, we have enough context to guess how they would act. Lute right now is just the mad new girl who just watched her crush die. I can almost see them having a mess up Cersei Lyanna Stark thing here from Game of Thrones, where Lute never felt like she could live up to the memory of either of Adam's previous well-known relationships, still letting him sleep around, meaning the fact that Lilith was here in heaven the whole time all the more annoying to her. Canon material though, we really don't have anything to go on. I can see something interesting happen if they start working together. Right now, this is nah, bro. Not enough here, too many variables. Plus, it's a weaker ship than most of their other pairings.
You may own my soul, but I ain't your fucking pet.
But you are.
You ever think about how it's a little bit fucked up how the only canonically black characters in the main cast are both enslaved?
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that?
Husk x Alastor is one of those ships that the show kind of killed for me. If I thought it was just fine before, now we've gotten a peek under that hood. And unless you're into bondage, this is a whole lot of yikes. Yeah, Alastor really does treat Husk less like an acquaintance and more like a pet. Al is the reason that Alastor is working at the hotel. He took advantage of Husk's need for money to fund his addiction, only for Husk to end up in debt to him. So while Husk is growing closer to everyone else in the hotel, he straight up looks disappointed when Alastor shows back up alive. Husk thought he was free, but sadly, I do love how Husk is one of the few people in the hotel who can just stand up to Alastor, with Husk having the extra context of knowing what he was like back then. So this is just him talking to a big scary guy. He knows what Alastor is capable of, but he also knows how his rep has fallen over the years, that he may not be as strong as he used to be. And the fact that he brings that up leads to oh, Alastor would kill him at the slightest inconvenience. So this one is nah, bro. I see it, I see the appeal. This one though I think is not for me. One thing about Husk was in Alastor's debt. I like it when they hang out together, but romantically I'm not really seeing it.
Oh, this will go well.
Alright, I have a video out about my issues with Charlie x Vaggie. They're fine, but 60% of their time spent together is spent comforting or assuring the other, which got old real quick. Tack on the fact that so much of Vaggie's character is built around Charlie, who's too busy dealing with the plot to return that attention. They're not bad, they're fine with a great moment, but this is a couple that needs more time to actually cook and just hang out rather than being tossed around the story. Also, another minor hot take that I had that didn't make it into the video, Adam does this thing that I've noticed with a lot of couples recently, where they want to be healthy and functional, they don't want any weird drama, so rather than having like a big fight or misunderstandings, they actually just sit down and talk about what happened. But it's done in a way that feels clinical rather than healthy. Like a therapist gave them a notebook and told them, say this. This is how I felt when they ended their fight in episode 3. It reminded me of Amy not looking at Luz's phone during the Owl House. Where yay, communication is cool, not every ship needs to have high stakes, yet I could also hear the story, taking a knee and calling me champ as it tries to give me a life lesson. Shaggy is a 7 out of 10. Could easily be couple goals, but it needs more time and they need to diversify Vaggie's interest. Now, for something less controversial.
I fucking got you! Did you fucking see that?
Adam x Charlie could be the worst case of I can fix him hell has ever seen. Let's sweep past the ick of Charlie banging her mom's ex, her ex's ex-boss, and the guy her dad cucked. There is so much baggage that it's crazy. Made worse by the fact that there's a 60-40 chance of Adam coming back as a demon, as if Pentious went to heaven, it'd be fitting for Adam to end up in hell where he belongs. Which unfortunately would make him a prime candidate for Charlie's hotel as he tries and fails to get back to his cushy high life, only for everyone to hate him, as they should. This ship is a solid stop it. Just stop it for me. It's not even the family baggage, I just know that Charlie can do better, and nobody should be trying to fix Adam. He's better off as terrible, and I'm not gonna pretend to care about the man who tried to wipe out hell for shits and giggles. Let him be awful, or let him stay dead.
We're going to love it here!
I lost the ability to love years ago.
See the vision. Yeah, no, Husk and Charlie could actually work if someone took the time to really write that fan fiction. But it's also another case of where all the parts of it that I like are done better by other people. Charlie with Husk is just Charlie with angel dust, but you sprinkle in more of Vaggie's pessimism. I can see her actually uplifting this burnt out and jaded cat, but this is just the cat mom trying to adopt the angry stray. It's a cliche-ridden rehash, but it's still solid.
I'm sure you've all been wondering.
Not really, but welcome back in any case.
Yeah, she'd peg him. Alastor x Carmilla is a ship that weirdly works for me. I don't know, hard to explain, but her being the only person to mock him to his face and get away with it, it just set off something in my brain. Al really thought he could just show up and be the talk of the party, only for Carmilla to remind him that he's not the center of attention and this is her house. If Rosie and Alastor are the best friends who got married, Alastor and Carmilla are the arranged marriage where they spend most of their time hating each other, but hate everyone else just a little bit more. It's cold, it's hostile, and I'm all for it. As out of all these ships, somebody has to be the one to put Alastor in his place, and I think this ship is it. 10 out of 10, no further questions. Adam x Eve is another weird one as we don't really know what Eve is like. But based on his everything, she probably hates him. This is another wait and see. Headcanon is that she's in hell and hates everybody due to the Apple situation. But again, we don't know. I'm just gonna put this in nah bro as, unless she's completely terrible and on board with his bullshit, I don't really want to see it. Nah bro, moving on. Gonna be honest, the only reason this ship is here is that I had made this list and figured Emily needed at least one angel to date that wasn't her sister. So let's just put this in nah for me so I can say that I did it.
The future of hell belongs to the V's.
Okay, throuple time. I think the V's are really fun as villains. Vox and Val are definitely banging. Velvette, just honestly, she might watch. If they're not all revealed to be hooking up by the end of the series, I would be surprised. However, there is one problem with this ship, and that it is Val. And while Vox and his Pim might be couple goals that has to be downgraded because of obvious reasons, I think the same logic should be applied here. So while I adore them all together, them all being together kind of makes very little difference to me. They're a little bit underutilized in this first season. Vox like straight up just didn't need to be here, but I still adore him. So for these three, I'm just gonna put them in See the Vision, is automatic deduction for all the ships he actually works in.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, I forgot I put this one in here. So yes, didn't need to put Peter What's-His-Face. Emily x Lute is, oh my god, it's just Shaggy. This is what would happen if Charlie and Vaggie didn't work together. They are part of the system if Emily was trying to change things from the inside while her murder wife was making things worse. This would be if Vaggie and Charlie didn't start the series together, with Lute learning to let down her barriers to see the humanity in sinners or have a tragic romance where the relationship just implodes from their wildly different beliefs. If we had more time with Emily, I could honestly see these two being couple goals just from the concept alone. Putting them up there just seems like a step too far. So we'll put them at the same level, 7 out of 10.
Suck it up, you little bitch.
Sometimes you just have to appreciate the classics. Tom Trench x Katie Killjoy is a ship made out of proximity. They work together, and even though she bullies him, we see a man and we see a woman standing side by side, so we have to shit them together. Personally, I think they're actually kind of okay despite the lack of content. Katie is wonderfully terrible. Tom is trying his best not to get bullied, but he's not a great person and he's letting all his guests take the heat so he doesn't have to. I'd honestly say the biggest detriment to this ship is the fact that while not the focus, I really miss her voice actress from the pilot. Brandon Rogers is great. He has a filmography to make this casting make sense. He's just reading the news, and you need to make this man say the most insane shit to make this feel worthwhile.
She totally pegs you, doesn't she?
Shipping wise, I think this one is just fine. I can see the vision, little more than that.
Good? Good.
Mimsy x Alastor is just Rosie but worse. I like that Mimsy is in Alastor's life, as it reminds people that he may own and abuse his employees, but at least he's not annoying. Even if we lied to ourselves and said Alastor isn't ace, Mimsy would still be so far in the friend zone she wouldn't even know she's in it. These two have big went to high school energy. Short meetings fine, let's reminisce, but then after 5 minutes they remember why they never hang out. But I think that works for their dynamic, as even if it's a weird relationship, it's nice to have people be friends with Alastor while also knowing that he sucks. But this is also not for me. I'll pass, but I think someone else might be obsessed with it, and I have no objections.
And the two rebellious dreamers fell deeply in love.
And then they divorced.
Lucifer x Lilith is the one ship where I would actually trade my soul to see into the future for, as people love Lucifer's ass, they love him, they adore him. Lilith, meanwhile, people saw her taking a vacation and immediately assumed the worst and now want to crucify her. We got the sickeningly sweet story of how they fell in love, Lucifer dreaming too much for heaven's liking, while Lilith didn't want to serve her dick husband, with the two finding common ground in being outcasts, and then tricking Eve into eating the apple, making things kinda worse for everybody. We know that they were the royal family of hell, that Lilith was the one who was really in charge, but Lucifer still got most of the attention because of course he did. Lilith has been gone for 7 years and nobody but her daughter seems to care. But despite all the mystery, this couple is giving Roger and Jessica Rabbit.
He makes me laugh.
Clearly Lucifer thought the world of her, but in spite of their apparent separation, she still holds a very special place in his heart. So for me, this couple is going to be either top tier or a massive mistake. Lilith being in heaven, not telling anyone as far as we know, there definitely might be some paradise lost over here, so I think I'm just gonna put them in See the Vision, as really I am just waiting to see.
You're gonna make this work, because it won't be so entertaining to watch over an empty hotel, will it, shit ass?
I kinda hate how much I like these two. Alastor x Vaggie is the kind of ship that I feel like I brainwashed myself into liking. Their talk in episode 1 was intriguing. The fact that Vaggie is the one who always had to deal with Alastor as the show went on just made it even better, with her going out of her way to bark orders at him, probably trying to make sure that Charlie and Alastor had just as little face time as possible. Cause yeah, even when you know him, the guy still screams stranger danger. I honestly can't properly explain why I find these two so endearing. Maybe it's the fact that it's like heroin and villain written all over it, without the super sweetness of Charlie that make it feel like it seemed genuine. This is the let me kill you romance, and I'll take it. Couple goals, because trust me.
Thanks for caring about me.
Charlie x Angel Dust is a ship that I think really fucking works well in theory, while the actual show struggles to give it a leg to stand on. The concept of the rescue romance is just all over them. Charlie is trying everything in her power to help Angel, to make him better, and to help him fight his demons. Yet when I watch the show, Husk is doing all the work for her. My god, is she trying? But what we see, none of it really sticks except the fact that she wants him to know that she cares. I could appreciate this more if Angel took Charlie through his life, show her what he's been through, how he grew up, then maybe, just maybe, it's gonna take more than songs to fix a sinner, but for them to not give up hope and to keep trying. And after all the snarking, I would have loved to see Angel Dust be the one to lift up Charlie when she was down. The biggest detriment to this ship, besides Vaggie, is that Charlie low-key feels like Angel's annoying sister who is trying to be his mother. While I think it's cute, it's never gonna be a high ranker for me, so I end up just seeing the vision. Okay, hear me out. Sarah x Pentious needs to happen. Yeah, I know cherry bomb, this and that, but I need this uptight Zeld who organized a yearly mass slaughter, used every justification under the sun to explain it, fall in love with this clown. This man is gonna show up in heaven and he will be a celebrity. She wants to hide him and keep him under lock and key, and in which case they'll fall in love and she'll never admit to it, because she knows that Emily will never let her hear the end of it. This is about healing the world with love. No, this is purely to watch this woman embarrass herself and betray everything she believed in for a snake man in steampunk cosplay. Highest being in the cosmos, this dork. I think she would get herself sent to hell just so her friends couldn't find her. She would be so in love with the man that she would fold into non-existence. If Lucifer was the guy who made her laugh, Pentious would be the one to make her question her own existence till he spoke and went, shit, I love him. To put this into like Star Wars terms, if Sarah is Emperor-ish, not exact, but just go with it, then Pentious is the Jar Jar Binks. Wait, sorry, wrong comparison. Steven Universe. Sarah would be the White Diamond to Pentious' Greg. That's the level of secondhand embarrassment we're talking about, and I need it. I want to see it so badly, as it would just send me every time I think about it. These two are top tier. God help anyone who sees this list without context, and even with it, this will make no goddamn sense. But hey, I ship it.
If they don't kill you, go ahead and do it yourself.
Vox x Sir Pentious, much like with Sarah, would be Pentious winning over the Almighty. Except this time it's the nerd getting the approval of the kid who he desperately wanted the approval of, when really, they've been bullying him this entire time. Is a mood. Vox could bond with Pentious over science, realizing that he's not so bad and he shouldn't have to work for the approval of his own friend group, who may or may not have been treating him well. Lots of fun little stories you could write for the both of them. Most of them would be set in high school. I say let's put this in See the Vision. Ready? Let's talk about the big one. Lucifer x Alastor, aka Radio Heart, is a ship that I don't even have to look up to know that it is in the top 5 most popular ships for this series. If it's not, I don't know the internet and should just quit right now. So let me just check Twitter real quick, and it's trending. Shocker. Now, if anyone is a celebrity couple in Hazbin Hotel, it'd be these two. They are two of the most popular characters in the show, and add to the fact that they hate each other, they are the daddy issues. Goofy versus serious, short king versus tall. This ship is 2013 Tumblr tags, and I'm all for it. While I'm not sold on Charlie's daddy issues, her daddy's issues I buy completely. Alastor hates Lucifer for some undisclosed reason that is partly him ignoring him at the door, and also insulting his home decor, while Lucifer despises any man who would replace him, or more accurately, the empty space where he should have been. You know they hate each other when they put themselves on the opposite sides of the hotel. That's when you know it's real hate. These two are just going to be a blast to have together, as they will always insist that the other has to leave the room. Alastor is petty and overcompensating for the fact that he is somebody else's pet, so he's picking a fight with the most powerful being in hell. Lucifer is still insecure about his relationship with Charlie, so this beef will not be ending anytime soon, which is perfect. Maybe they'll learn to co-parent eventually, but this much personality in a room should be illegal. That said, they're not top tier. Love them together, always nice to have people hate each other, but this is more rivalry than romance. But the insane amount of fun that they are together, I have to rate them high. Like, I honestly might have put them in top tier if Lucifer was the only person Alastor cussed at. But no, he went from not swearing at all to him swearing once per episode. It's great. If we're trying to raise this ship's stock, that energy has to be laser focused. So sadly, against popular demand, though I'm sure people will contest, I'm putting Radio Heart in couple goals. They're great to hang out, but when it comes to making out, I don't think it has that edge to get in with the rest of the greats, like Pentious and his Angel Bay. Feel free to complain in the comments, but this is my list. I didn't think this video would go on so long. In fact, it ended up taking so long that I ended up moving to a different place, so a lot of recordings may sound slightly different here as I realized I made mistakes. But hey, it's December, it eventually got out, and if this video hits 500k by the end of the year, I will rank every Hazbin character by trauma.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
That's all for me. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace out. Love you all.